Well, here we are. Thoughts from the office, Redneck's Pride Outdoors. Here's a video for the wildlife control industry. It's March 25th, and raccoons calls are really coming in. Now, typically in my area, around the March 20th, I start to look for sow raccoons having their young. Doesn't happen all the time, but I start looking for it. I start questioning the customer as I'm being called out, and you can get a really good indication of what's going on. Now, with that being said, I got two jobs right this second that I'm pretty certain they're going to drop their pups here in the next 3 or 4 days. And I'll explain why. When I talk to a customer, the typical raccoon scenario, if you will, is going to be, I have a raccoon, they're coming in the house that night. You hear them usually 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, or they may hear them right at dark, but they typically don't hear a lot of noise in that midnight type thing for very long. In other words, you might get the call where I heard it around 12:01. It came in, it was making a noise for about a half hour, 45 minutes, and then it disappeared, and I didn't hear that again. And one of the things I'll say to folks is, how often do you hear it? And they usually don't know what I'm talking about on that. I'll say days wise. Do you hear it every day? How often do you hear it? And as we get into the beginning of March, most of the time, prior to that, February, January, whatever, they would hear a raccoon, in January especially, raccoon come in, sound like a big fight going on, and then they don't hear anything again, and then they'll hear a raccoon maybe come in 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, stay for a half hour, and then leave about every 5 days. All right. And then as we get into February, they're saying they hear the raccoon. They may hear it in the middle of the night, 12, 1, 2, but they mainly are hearing it like 3 or 4, and it sounds like it's going to sleep, or around 4 o'clock, and it sounds like it's going to sleep. And I'll say, well, how often are you hearing it now? And they'll say about every 3 days. I didn't hear it last night, didn't hear it the night before, didn't hear it about every 3 days. So I say, okay, all right. You see, that's clicking in my brain here. When a raccoon starts hitting it about every 3 days, I know we're dealing with a female raccoon. When she's hitting me or the house every 3 days at 4 o'clock, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm pretty certain I got a sow raccoon. Why? Males are still on that 8 to 10 day circuit. Males are on an 8 to 10 day circuit. As I'm talking to them, and as March is coming into it, and I'm listening and talking to the folks, as we get into March, middle of March, 10th, 11th, 12th, 15th, the folks are starting to say, yeah, it's definitely every 3 days. I've been hearing them come in. I just, I kind of hoped they was going to go away, but they're about every 3 days. Oh, son of a gun. Okay. Now, I got my options at this point. if I know that they're hitting the house every 3 days, I've got a female, more than likely, and more than likely, she's going to be a pain. Why do I say that? Well, I gotta watch how I say this, because you take a pregnant female raccoon where her hormones are really cranking, okay? And you husbands remember how your wives was when the baby was just about born. All right, well, we'll just leave it at that, so I don't give myself a lot of hate mail here. Anyway, those female raccoons, when they're hitting that house in March or April, and your customer's telling you they was hearing it every 5 to 8 days, now they're hearing it every 5 days, now they're hearing it every 3 days, let me tell you what, friend, it's getting close. It's getting real close. I don't care if it's the end of March or beginning of April, middle of April, end of April. It's getting close. When it's a consistent 3 days in the mornings, that's a really good indication. But when I hear the customer say, yeah, they're coming back about every 3 days, but I hear them, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning for a half hour, 45 minutes to an hour, then they disappear, and then I hear them again at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and it's hitting every 3 days. I'm not 100%, but I'm 99% certain I've got a female. She's getting ready to pop. All right? At that point, if I put a trap out and she's not wanting to go into that trap, I may go ahead and use eviction. My coon be going eviction paste. And a lot of times, she's going to vacate. Gone. Why? Because it's not a safe place for her to be. All right? But if you miss it, and the person says, yeah, we've been hearing about every 3 days, but now, for the last 4 or 5 days, she's here every day. Or it's here every day, they'll say. The raccoon's here every day. I hear it in the morning. Okay. She chose that house for a den. When your customer says, yeah, it's been here for about a week, every day, and for the last 2 days, I'm hearing it move around during the day quite a bit. Well, my friend, she's getting ready. All right, she's getting ready. I mean, like now type thing. And what a lot of times I'll do is I'll set the trap knowing she's not going to get caught, but I'll go ahead and just put the eviction paste in there at that point, and I'm hoping I can get her to blow out before she has the pups. If the customer says to me, yeah, it was every 3 days, now it's every day for the past week, I've been hearing her off and on pretty much during the day, but like last night, she was literally running everywhere, or today she was literally, they won't use the word she, I say the word she, they say the raccoon, okay? It's been running around crazy off and on, and it's going in places that I never normally hear it. That is a sow. She is dropping, and it's like now, Phil's, okay? It's going to happen now. Next thing I'll hear is the customer say to me, every 5 days, drop down to 3 days, you know the gamut. I heard it running around at night, hard. 2 nights ago, it was running around crazy. 2-3 nights ago, and I haven't heard it for 3 nights, or 3 days, or 3 nights, and I thought it was gone. But all of a sudden, I heard it now, in that one spot right there, and it's there all the time. She has dropped. Okay, she's dropped her pups. Any more in those situations, I'm just using eviction fluid. I'm not cutting people's walls unless I have to. I'm going to go in with Coon Be Gone eviction paste. I'm going to work it. I've got another video I talked about it. I could do a long version of it, but I'm not going to at this point. I'm just going to say I'm just going to go right to the eviction paste. I'm not even going to try to trap them. I'm going to tell them I'm going to try to get rid of them. I always tell my customers anyway, I'm going to set a trap to see if I can catch it. I think she's getting ready to drop her young. And when they're ready to drop their young, they can be extremely hard to catch. You are not hiring me to trap a raccoon. You are hiring me to solve your problem. I prefer to trap and remove, but if she has her pups, we're getting ready to have her pups, excuse me, we're just going to evict her, get her going. That way, I don't have to cut holes in the wall unless you want me to cut holes in the wall. And they always tell me no. Okay. Just be straightforward with the people. Be straight with them. It costs as much to evict for me as it does for me to set a trap. Anymore, if I'm going to have raccoons with pups with my state and my Disney World emotions from people, it's just easier to evict. They understand it. They want it done. And I tell them I put the eviction paste up, do it the proper way, and usually within 3 to 5 days, they're gone, everything's quiet, and then we can block up the holes and do whatever we want to do. Okay? So this is a wildlife control video. Stuff that I used to do on my podcast. Used to really draw them out on the podcast. Podcast was about an hour, hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours long. But we went into much more detail. I just skimmed over this for you, just to give you some insight. Okay? So, wildlife control, folks. I hope you can glean from an old goat like me who's been at it for a long, long time. Don't know it all, but willing to share what I do know most of the time. All right, we'll catch you later. Redneck's Pride Outdoors. I'll talk to you later.